Chapter 150 to 152. A god of destruction needed to manage a universe. While their duty was to destroy, they also relied on the creation abilities of the Supreme Kai. Therefore, the two positions could check each other. However, the grand god of destruction didn't need to be responsible for any single universe. He managed the angels, gods of destruction, and Supreme Kais, so there was no need for a Supreme Kai whose fate was linked to his. Moreover, the grand god of destruction and the god of destruction were two completely different roles. In this case, I won't put you in a difficult situation by declining. I accept, Goten nodded. Without the risk of his fate being tied to a Supreme Kai, the position seemed appealing. If he were to become a god of destruction, it would be frightening to have his fate connected with a Supreme Kai. If the Supreme Kai was killed, the god of destruction would also die. But as the grand god of destruction, he could avoid those shackles and also gain higher levels of destruction laws. If he could merge the power of destruction and the power of an angel, perhaps a new law power could be created. This was just Goten's idea, and whether he could create a power of laws comparable to Zeno's was uncertain. It was not easy to surpass the supreme god of a universe. "Did you agree? That would be wonderful," Zeno said, showing a happy smile. At this moment, he appeared as a naive child. Goten wondered if Zeno was truly naive, or if his disguise was just that good. In the original Dragon Ball, Zeno had shown a childlike character, whimsically destroying universes without revealing any insidious traits. But at this moment, Zeno's guard spoke up. "Lord Zeno, Mr. Goten seems to be very powerful, and we were very interested in him before. Could we have a little spar with Mr. Goten?" the guard asked. They were intrigued by the new grand god of destruction. When they had felt his aura before, they had already wanted to fight. In hundreds of millions of years, except for the Grand Priest, they had never encountered a stronger opponent. But the Grand Priest's strength was far beyond their reach. Now that they had met a powerful opponent, they naturally wanted to try him out, and it would be a good way to test their skills and shake off the rust. Additionally, it would allow Zeno to assess the strength of the new Grand God of Destruction. What do you think, Grand Priest and Goten?" Zeno asked, hesitating for a moment. He seemed excited about the possibility of a battle. As someone who liked to play, he thought this battle might bring him some fun. "Lord Zeno, you can decide this kind of thing. I have no objections," the Grand Priest replied with a smile. To be honest, he was also curious about Goten's strength. The power he had sensed earlier was indeed impressive. However, whether Goten could match Zeno's two guards was still unclear. He was eager to see if Goten was stronger than Zeno's guards. "Well, what about you, Goten? I'd love to see you guys fight." Zeno's expectant eyes turned to Goten after hearing the Grand Priest agree. Staying idle and playing marbles every day had become boring for him. This seemed like a fun alternative. "If everyone is interested, then I am happy to oblige." Goten did not hesitate and nodded. He was also very curious about Zeno's guards. In the original Dragon Ball series, these two characters were shrouded in mystery. No one knew how strong they really were because they were never shown fighting seriously. Some believed their strength surpassed the Grand Priest, while others thought they were weaker. After all, they were terribly afraid of Zeno, whereas the Grand Priest was relatively relaxed around him. This contrast between fear and ease seemed directly linked to their strength. Today was a perfect opportunity to test the strength of Zeno's guards. "So everyone agrees?" Zeno asked. "Since that's the case, then it's decided." However, Zeno's voice suddenly paused. He looked around and felt the palace was quite empty at this time. If he was the only one watching the battle, it would be too boring. Maybe they could invite more spectators and let the other gods witness Goten's strength. It would also help them acknowledge the new grand god of destruction. "What's the matter, Lord Zeno? How can I help?" the Grand Priest asked. I feel the audience is too small. Grand Priest, please bring the gods of destruction, angels, and supreme Kais from other universes here. It will make this place more lively and let the other gods get to know Goten. After thinking for a while, Zeno spoke again. An interesting battle like this deserved a larger audience. It would also be a good chance for the other gods of destruction to see how weak they had become, potentially sparking their desire to train. Okay, Lord Zeno, the Grand Priest nodded. This seemed like a good idea. The gods of destruction had been living too comfortably lately. Their strength, once the greatest in the universe, had led them to neglect their training. The Grand Priest shook his right hand, and the angel staff appeared. He began to contact the angels of the 12 universes. Angels, please bring the gods of destruction and supreme Kais of your universes to Lord Zeno's palace as soon as possible. Be quick. If you take too long, Lord Zeno will not be happy. After the Grand Priest's voice fell, all the angels quickly and respectfully acknowledged the order and prepared for the arrival. TN. Guys, I will be going on a short hiatus as I am entering a critical phase for experimentation in my project. I might not be able to work on the translation for at least a month or at most 2 months. I will continue again once the workload eases, the experimentation is done. Till then, keep the book in the reading list. Once I am done with my project and publish the research paper, I will try to do a mass release of dozens of chapters for this fic here. A few minutes later, the sound of beings breaking through the air echoed one after another. Gods of destruction, angels, and supreme Kais from all 12 universes appeared one by one. They knelt respectfully to the ground, but when some of the gods of destruction saw Goten, their faces showed surprise. Why had Zeno summoned them this time? Did it have anything to do with the mortal in front of them? Hey, Beerus, do you know why Lord Zeno called us all here? Champa whispered to Beerus. How would I know? Beerus replied. I hope it's not a bad thing. He could only pray that Zeno had not decided to punish their 7th universe because of Goten's appearance. At this moment, Quitella of the 4th universe spoke up. Looking at Zeno and the Grand Priest, he asked, Lord Zeno, Lord Grand Priest, why have you summoned us here suddenly? All the gods of destruction looked at Quitella. This guy had a lot of guts sometimes. He didn't seem as afraid of Zeno as the rest of them, but Zeno and the Grand Priest didn't seem to mind these little things. The Grand Priest smiled and said, Everyone, please rise. I called you here to announce something. As the Grand Priest's voice fell, all the gods stood up. Most of their eyes were on Goten. Their intuition told them that Zeno and the Grand Priest had summoned them because of this mortal. Actually, you have all been summoned to meet someone. This is Mr. Goten. Starting today, he will become the Grand God of Destruction and will be your immediate superior. After the Grand Priest finished speaking, he looked at Goten. Hiss! All the gods of destruction and supreme Kais gasped. They looked at Goten in unison, horror in their eyes. The position of Grand God of Destruction was coveted by all the gods of destruction. Many felt they didn't have the strength for it and didn't harbor any illusions about the position. However, they assumed the position would eventually go to one of the gods of destruction among the 12 universes. They never expected it to go to a mortal. What? Are you kidding me? A mortal as the Grand God of Destruction? How could this happen? I thought this position would go to one of the gods of destruction. What is the origin of this mortal? How is he favored by Lord Zeno and the Grand Priest? After a moment of shock, the gods of destruction started whispering among themselves. It was obvious they were unconvinced. A mortal, unknown to them, had been appointed as the Grand God of Destruction. Naturally, this was hard for them to accept. If the position had gone to any god of destruction, they wouldn't be dissatisfied. But a mortal taking the position was difficult to swallow. No mortal had ever surpassed the level of a god of destruction in any universe. That kid Goten, I thought he would be punished. Instead, he became the Grand God of Destruction. Unbelievable. Beerus said, surprised. However, Beerus did not feel the same as the other gods of destruction. He knew Goten's strength well. It definitely surpassed the level of a god of destruction, even that of an angel. So, if Goten became the grand god of destruction, it wasn't too unacceptable. After all, their society respected strength, and Goten had the qualification and power. When all the gods were whispering, Quitella, the god of destruction of the fourth universe, spoke again. Looking at Zeno and the Grand Priest, he said, "Lord Zeno, Lord Grand Priest, isn't this decision a bit too hasty? How can an insignificant mortal hold such an important position as the grand god of destruction? I'm not convinced by such a decision, and I don't think the other gods of destruction are either. The position of the grand god of destruction should be chosen from among us gods." Quitella was not only pompous, but also lacked brains. After saying such words, all the gods broke into a cold sweat. He had openly questioned the authority and decision of Zeno and the Grand Priest. This was akin to courting death. It would be one thing if he alone were wiped out, but it would be troublesome if their universes were implicated. "Oh, are you questioning Lord Zeno's decision to appoint Goten as the grand god of destruction of the multiverse?" the Grand Priest asked, glancing at Quitella with an indifferent tone. "This matter was actually Lord Zeno's decision, and it's not up to you to accept it or not." A mere god of destruction dared to question Zeno's decision. It seemed this guy no longer wished to live. "You disagree with Goten becoming the grand god of destruction? Do you want to disappear?" Zeno said, his expression changing as he looked at Quitella with cold eyes. Upon hearing the words of the Grand Priest and Zeno, Quitella's expression changed instantly. He quickly knelt down on the ground. "Extremely sorry, Lord Zeno. I didn't mean that. Forgive my stupidity," Quitella said in a terrified tone. He didn't expect Zeno to be so resolute about this matter. "I'll let you go this time. If you say such a stupid thing again, I will wipe you and the fourth universe from this world," Zeno said coldly. The other gods were already trembling with fear, casting resentful glances at Quitella. This bastard was really too pompous. How dare he question Zeno's decision? Wasn't that courting death? Although they were not convinced in their hearts, they would never question his decision in front of Zeno. "Okay, everyone," the Grand Priest continued. "In addition to getting to know the new Grand God of Destruction, you are also here to see his strength. Next, the Grand God of Destruction will have a friendly spar with Lord Zeno's guards. I think after this battle, the Grand God of Destruction will completely convince those of you who are dissatisfied." After finishing speaking, the staff in his hand tapped the ground lightly. Immediately, the entire palace began to undergo tremendous changes. In a short while, it had become a huge arena. The other gods of destruction, supreme Kais and angels, were sent to the auditorium. "Lord Zeno, the arena has been prepared. The battle is ready now," the Grand Priest said to Zeno. "Okay, if that's the case, let them start the competition. I can't wait." Zeno, returning to his childish appearance, said expectantly. Then, the two guards and Goten flashed and appeared directly in the ring. All the gods and angels were full of curiosity. They wondered how powerful Goten was to become the grand god of destruction appointed by Lord Zeno. I really want to see what kind of power this mortal has to be so valued by Lord Zeno," Champa said in a low voice. "Lord Champa, the strength of the grand god of destruction is indeed too strong. From his body, I feel the power of destruction, the power of an angel. If my feeling is correct, the powerful aura before was released from his body," Vados, who was next to him, whispered. If she wasn't wrong, that sudden appearance of powerful aura before was definitely released from that mortal's body. Because the distance between the sixth universe and the seventh universe was relatively close, she felt it more clearly than the other angels. "What? You're not joking, Vados. Are you saying that the incredibly powerful aura from before was released by that mortal in front of us? Champa asked incredulously. How is it possible? How can a mere mortal contain both the power of destruction and the power of an angel? Champa had a hard time believing Vados's words. In the eyes of the gods of destruction, mortals were insignificant beings. The power of destruction was exclusive to the gods of destruction. As for the power of an angel, it was even more impossible for a mortal to possess. So, even though the words came from Vados, he still didn't believe it. There is no mistake, Lord Champa, Vados replied firmly. Just keep an eye on him. I think the strength of the grand god of destruction shouldn't be weaker than Lord Zeno's guards. The power released before was too overwhelming. Although Zeno's guards were very strong, even surpassing the level of most angels, there was still a significant gap between them and the Grand Priest. The force she felt earlier should not be weaker than Zeno's guards. After another firm assertion from Vados, Champa finally became serious. He quickly turned his gaze to the arena. If that mortal was really that powerful, then his understanding of mortals would be completely subverted. No matter what, he must now maintain a level of respect for that mortal, because he was now the grand god of destruction and the immediate superior of the gods of destruction. It would be irrational to offend him because of some foolish remarks. Meanwhile, in the arena, "Grand god of destruction, please use all your strength. Let us all see it," Zeno's guard said confidently. "I hope your strength is not too weak. Otherwise, this battle will be too boring." Although they had sensed Goten's power before, they still thought that together they could easily defeat him. "Want to see my true strength?" Goten smiled faintly. "Don't worry, this battle will definitely not be boring." A terrifying grass-green flame burst out from his body in an instant. Immediately afterward, the K aura turned purplish-red, and Goten's appearance changed drastically. His body became covered in red hair, and his hair turned purplish-red. Crackling lightning flashed from the tips of his hair and body hair. His aura reached an incomparably terrifying level in an instant. At this moment, he did not keep his base form, but transformed into the form of Super Saiyan I Full Limit Break. Although he felt that Zeno's guards could not be his opponents, he had to ensure he didn't hold back too much. If he didn't show his full strength, it might not be so easy to defeat them. "Oh my God, are you kidding? Is this powerful aura really coming from that mortal?" "It's unbelievable," one of the gods exclaimed. "No, impossible. How could a mortal possess such a powerful force?" "Isn't this too exaggerated?" another god added. All the gods of destruction were extremely frightened as they sensed Goten's aura. They had never felt such a powerful presence. Even in the Grand Priest's body, they had never felt such a huge sense of oppression. After all, the Grand Priest never needed to release his full power in front of them. "It's exactly the same as the aura I felt last time," Champa immediately said. "Looks like you're right, Vados." Such a powerful aura had completely surpassed the limits that the gods of destruction could comprehend. Even the angels might struggle to perceive how strong Goten currently was. At this moment, even the Grand Priest wore a surprised expression. "It's unbelievable feeling this aura at such a close distance. Is this really the power a mortal should have?" The Grand Priest thought in horror. "It seems that over the years, we have underestimated mortals." Despite his astonishment, he noticed that Goten's body didn't seem to have the previous angel power, perhaps deliberately hidden. This was something he would definitely figure out. As for Zeno's two guards, their faces turned even more grim. "No, impossible," one of them muttered. "This guy's strength is incredible." Both guards shared the same shock. When they sensed his power before, it wasn't at this level. "What's wrong?" Goten asked lightly, seeing the shock on their faces. "Where did your confident look go? Are you surprised by my strength?" "It is undeniable that your strength is indeed strong," one of the guards admitted. even far beyond our judgment of you. However, I can tell you with certainty that even with such force, you will definitely not be able to defeat us." The guards seemed absolutely confident in their abilities. "Yeah? In that case, let's see how much of that confidence is real." Goten's mouth curled into a wicked smile. Seeing Goten's confident appearance, both guards raised their brows slightly. Then, in perfect synchronization, they flashed to Goten's left and right sides, attacking with heavy punches. This time, they held nothing back. They had felt Goten's power and knew hiding their strength was unwise. Despite the simultaneous attack from both sides, Goten's expression remained unchanged as he opened his hands to block. Bang! Bang! Two muffled crashes sounded at the same time. The ground under Goten's feet began to vibrate violently, with ripples of condensed energy spreading out quickly. Yet Goten's body remained motionless. Clearly, such power couldn't harm him. "Zeno's guards. Is this all the strength you have?" Goten said lightly. "It seems that it's not me letting you down, but your strength making me uninterested." Suddenly, Goten shouted angrily, "Ha!" In the next second, terrifying power was released from his body. Zeno's guards were blown away by the sheer force. Then, Goten jumped up, instantly condensing two huge energy balls in his hands. "Come and try this," he declared. The hot energy balls, like miniature suns, blasted directly at the two guards.